Good morning. It's Wednesday, September 21st. Welcome to the podcast sponsored by Novartis Pharmaceuticals Corporation, the makers of Leqvio and Glycerin. As we are every episode here for Ekeler's Edge, we're joined by the great Austin Ekeler. Austin, what's going on, buddy? How was your Sunday off?
Man, I am ready to get back. Like, I am ready for tomorrow, or I guess today. We filmed this on Tuesdays. But Wednesday, I'm ready to get back in the building. I feel like I've had so long off. Just watching all these games that kind of I'm itching. I'm like, get me back in there. I'm ready to work. That's just me though. But
Yeah.
it's been great to relax a little bit, but also at the same time, it's been a little too much for in season.
Yeah, you mentioned on the last episode you would let us know whether you liked that sort of mini bye week or not. It sounds like you've had enough already. You're ready to get back to the grind.
This is exactly why I think I would prefer it to be later in the game. I think that is, or later in the year, because of this time that I'm getting right now. Like, we only played 2 games. Like, I'm still ready. Like, my body's like, we just got a little taste of it, of gameplay. And now I'm getting this big break, but I don't need this break right now. I'm like, come on. So yeah, I'm going to go with, I like it later in the season, or at least a few more games in.
All right. Well, that's good to know. I know that you're itching to get back out there. I'm sure everybody on the Chargers is feeling the same way. We do want to give you a chance before we jump into the meat of the show to promote any giveaways you got that going on this week, man. Those have been popping off.
They have been actually popping off. So yeah, we have the Ekeler challenge going on this week, which, if you don't know, is when I give 2 tickets and a parking pass to our home game, since we are home this week versus Jacksonville. So I'm giving away 2 tickets. Go check out my Instagram. It's pinned in my Instagram if you're trying to go to the game. You have to provide your own transportation, so keep that in mind. If you are not in the area or can't drive there, don't enter. You're wasting your time. And also have my jerseys that I do for fantasy football owners of mine every single week. So shout out to everyone that's been posting me in your starting lineup. Got to bring you some more points this week, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yes, we will get into that. We got a big show ahead of us. We have a big guest today, Packers running back Aaron Jones, who is coming off a huge week in a win over the Bears. Will be joining us a little bit later in the show. Personally saving my ass in a few fantasy lineups as well. So that's good. We'll be happy to see Aaron Jones later on in the show. But we got a lot else to talk about here before we bring on Aaron. And, we are obviously going to talk about your guys' game against the Chiefs on Thursday night, get into some of the nuts and bolts of that. But, this isn't going to be a 60-minute Charger show every single week. We are going to talk about a couple other games here, including 2 big ones on Monday night with some huge fantasy performances. Austin, let's start with the Bills 41, Titans 7. I'm a huge Steph Diggs fan. You might not know this about me. He's the number 1 rated guy in success rate versus man coverage in reception perception, my little side project. So he is, and he and I go back and forth about this a lot. So he knows how fond I am of his game as well. He's been on the show, the Yahoo Fantasy Football Forecast as well. So I was personally happy to see him absolutely dominating last night. But it sure seems like the Titans probably not so happy to see it.
Man, that game was crazy. Not crazy in the sense like, the Dolphins and the Baltimore game, but the opposite, right? Like, it was just unbelievable to see just how much was going well for the Bills and how much they were able to continue to put a high level of play on the field. And then for the flip side, how bad the Titans were playing that night. But I've been on that side of the ball. When last year I think we played Baltimore and it was like 40-7. Yeah, and it was this big old hyped up game, like, it's going to be a great game, 2 high scoring offenses, And so, man, when you have a day like that, you're really just trying to, like, look, okay, we're accepting the L, like, we're getting blown out, like, hey, let's just try to get through this and get back and regroup, because we know we can put something better on the field when I'm talking about, the Titans perspective. But yeah, shout out to the Bills. The Bills are looking so strong right now, man, playing at such a high level and just, taking off where they left off last year. So, yeah, look out if you're playing the Bills, because they're looking nice.
Yeah, no kidding. And they weren't even at full strength last night. They were missing their number 2 receiver, Gabe Davis, who's really come on strong, obviously, in the last year's playoffs. And then he started off strong in week 1 against the Rams. So they look like a dangerous team, man. The AFC, we talked a lot about the AFC West on the show, of course, because it's your division. But, like, dude, this entire conference is rough.
I will say this: do not be mistaken. Like, this is still the NFL. I was talking about that game last year where the Ravens came out and beat us like 47. The next week, they went and lost to the Bengals. and it was like a blowout. And so it's like the NFL is crazy. Like it's every single week you got to show up, and if you don't, that's exactly what's going to happen to you. So the Titans, I'm not counting them out by any means or anything like that, but yeah, NFL, you got to show up.
Yeah, it's just these good offensive ecosystems. This is where you want to like look for fantasy players, where you want to look for sleepers, stuff like that. And I mean,
absolutely,
it's just awesome for me to see two guys like Diggs and Allen at the height of their powers. And, like a quarterback, I think, obviously I knew Diggs was a great player when he was playing with Minnesota. I think he obviously had some big moments, but to see these two guys just continue to maximize each other's strengths, I just love to see that. Actually, like I said, I talked to Diggs for the show pretty recently, and he said it's hard to evaluate talent without other talent around it. And that was kind of the case with Josh. That was kind of the case with Diggs. Like, then they come together and just make this beautiful music. It's a good thing to see, man. It's good for football.
Yeah, Josh Allen, that dude's a stud on the field and in fantasy. Just, much respect to that guy. Yeah.
Another stud quarterback that is emerging here is Jalen Hurts, man. This is, again, another situation where, just like I said, it's with Diggs and Allen, it's hard to evaluate talent without other talent around it. And Jalen Hurts has had some dudes throughout the course of his career, but they've continued to build it up. And I'm watching this game last night, Austin. I don't know what you felt. I had a couple different reactions. One, it was like, bro, what are the Vikings doing on defense? Like, they just kept sitting back, like giving free releases to these receivers. That was a little weird, a little questionable. But I even think, regardless of that, watching the Eagles offense, like, where do you even go to begin defending this team? Like, because they have a mobile quarterback in Jalen Hurts. They've just brought in another guy that I think is like a top 5 receiver in AJ Brown. And they already, like I said, had existing dudes around there, like Devontae Smith, who showed big back up last night. Quez Watkins made a big play. Like, this Eagles offense is another unit that just looks like, how do you begin to defend this team?
Hey, that's something that's not my expertise. Someone else got to figure out how to defend us. How are you gonna defend us? That's what I'm looking for. But for me, when you're talking about the Eagles and just these offenses in general, especially Jalen Hurts, guys that we're seeing this style of quarterback that's taking over the game. These mobile quarterbacks, not necessarily like all like Lamar Jackson, who's going to run for an 80-yard touchdown every time, but can move like Jalen Hurts can get out there if he has to. He's gashing you down the field.
Right.
Same with the other guy that played last night. Josh Allen, he's gashing you too, and it just allows for so much more. I think just production out of your offense because you can now create, right? And then people can get open, especially when you have the receivers. But I mean, if they're going to stay off and give you all these little dink and dunks all day, then you just can keep gashing them down the field and basically, get points for free. So there's something to play on that. But yeah, man, when it comes to having these quarterbacks, like I said it too last week, like we have to help him as skill players. We have to help our quarterback. You're talking about bringing in talent. Our quarterback can only be so good until we bring in talent and we actually, express what he's giving us, the opportunities that he's giving us with the ball. He's moving around. Jay Herb's throwing us the ball. Jalen Hurts, all these guys giving us chances. Now we have to go capitalize because that's what's also going to elevate our quarterback's game and make them look even better. Another one is, out Tua. Look at that guy.
Yeah.
He looks like an absolute legend. But he's throwing to these receivers that are wide open and they're actually capitalizing and going down and scoring, right? So that now he's looking like, oh God, this is the guy now, after that week. And so it takes the skill players to get it done, right? And it takes the quarterback. That's why it's so important when I'm drafting my fantasy teams. I'm looking, okay, who is the quarterback of this team? Right? Can they give their guys a chance and their skill guys? Can they actually capitalize? And so, that's where you see guys like AJ Brown coming into, with pairing up with Jalen Hurts are going to be popping off. And that's the guy that I was trying to draft and got him on a couple of my teams. So,
nice.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that season.
You mentioned Tua. He's a guy that actually gets compared a lot to Justin because they went right around each other in the draft, everything like that. And Dolphins fans will come out there and vigorously defend Tua, because I think the national narrative is, the Dolphins passed on, Justin Herbert. They should have taken. And so like Tua ends up catching flack for that because Justin got off to such a hot start. But have you followed much of Tua's career to this point? Because obviously this looks like a big inflection point now with these two dynamic receivers. And again, talk about difficult to defend. It's a good thing neither you nor I have to worry about that because that seems like a pretty tough job defending Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle together.
Yeah. It's we had to go against that for the past 5 years of my career, where you can't defend him. He's going to pop up because he just runs so fast, right? And so it's like, oh, what are you gonna do? You're gonna him and Waddle. You're going to play off on him. Okay. They're going to run a, 15, 20-yard stop route. Now, boom, that's a gash. Oh, you're going to play down on us? Slant across your face, and he's taking it for 80. Like, I've seen it all, with that guy. And not only that, he catches everything. Anything around him, he's snagging him. So yeah, when you guys when you have people like Tyreek, man, it's like that's why he's getting paid what he's getting paid, because that's very, very rare, one of a kind, so to say. And so I haven't followed much of Tua's career, but he's definitely got some weapons over there that he's definitely been paired up with. So more fantasy potential over there. Obviously, that was something that's been known from the beginning with that guy.
Yeah, we love to see really concentrated passing attack too. We've talked about like with the Chargers and how you guys have spread it around a little bit more this year than maybe in years past. Obviously, Keenan being hurt is a big part of that. But in Miami, it's like I think 88% of the air yards in Miami went to Jalen Waddle or Tyreek Hill. Like 64% of the targets, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. Like that's what you love to see from a fantasy offense right there. So I wish I had more like Jalen Waddle teams at this point, but missed out on that one. So that's a tough scene. But let's transition into Chiefs Chargers, Austin. It's been a while since this game happened, obviously, but tough loss for you guys, 27-24. Chiefs take it home there. It was a fun game to watch, though. A lot of different angles to go off it, but I do think we have to start, Austin, with your performance. 14 carries, 39 yards, 9 catches for 55 yards. And this is the funny thing about fantasy football, Austin. And we got a lot of questions into the email inbox. We're not going to sit here and read every single one of them that were concerned about you being underutilized, concerned about your usage. And this is kind of the funny thing with fantasy. And I think this is a little good and bad, is that as fantasy players, especially sharp fantasy players, are so concerned about the process of things, which matters, right? Because you look at the end result in like a PPR format, you freaking crushed it because you got like 9 catches for 55 yards, right? But there's a lot of questions about like you kind of mixing in with Josh Kelly and Sony Michel, maybe a little more than people were expected. There's a lot of questions about the goal line usage and, you getting used down in the red zone. So Austin, I wanted to give you a chance to, kind of speak on the first 2 weeks and how maybe some of the usage has been different for you and maybe what we can expect going forward.
Yeah, there's definitely been some switch up from last year. I think that's for sure. Specifically on like the 1 or 2 yard line, right? I haven't had many of those reps. Not saying I haven't had any, because I definitely had a few in the first game against the Raiders. But it's been Sony Michel and Joshua Kelly that are taking those types of snaps. And so I told Coach Staley the other day, I was like, hey, if I'm scoring, I got to score from the 3-point line. Like no layups, so I got to get in, make somebody miss, make a play. And then something that just concerns me that I'm really aware of is just my rushing average and making sure I'm capitalizing that. And so I'm absolutely on that, trying to pick that up, because that's unacceptable to myself as far as what I'm doing, because I feel like my O-line is doing a good job. And so when that's the case, especially when we're getting too high the entire game and it's a light box, we got to be able to gash them. We should be running the ball over them. And it comes down to me making one more guy miss, crossing someone's face or stiff arming, breaking the tackle. But as far as my usage, last year, last game I had like 20 something touches. So my usage it's definitely there. It's definitely there. It might not be the same as what it was last year, but I don't think it's a case where we can say like, oh, it's for the entire season, right? We've only played 2 games. And so we've only seen a certain amount of scenarios, and we've only been in a certain amount of like goal line scenarios. We haven't put everything in as far as our red zone packages and stuff like that from the beginning. You kind of evolve it as it goes. And so I think I'll become more of a factor down in the red zone as we continue to move along in the season, especially with Keenan being out. We'll see when he's coming back with his hamstring. So being able to, I'm going to have to pick it up, honestly, because he's one of our go-tos anywhere on the field, especially in the red zone and on third downs. And so I think I'm going to be utilized more because he is out. And I think it was evident last game. I had 9 catches. And so like Jay Herb's throwing me the ball more, because Keenan's down. So it almost is more concentrated between Mike Williams and Gerald Everett and me, right? Those are where the balls are, for the most part, are going. And so right now it's too early, I would say, to say, oh, I'm getting underused or anything, because I did have 20-something touches. So if you're asking me, that's a full game. My body felt a full game last time. And so it comes down to just me. I have to get in the end zone. That's what it is.
Right.
I didn't get in the end zone. And so that makes my fantasy performance not look as great, right? Because instead of scoring, 20 points, I'm scoring 13. I'm scoring 14, 15 points, right? And so it's like, where are these 20-point games? Well, last year I was getting in the end zone. So this year I got to make another guy miss. I got to capitalize on my opportunities. I had a couple mistakes, just some more technical stuff that I'll speak on real quick. Like, I think it was, we were driving down and it was the touchdown right before we went to kick the onside kick. I had 2 flat routes that Justin threw both of them to me. And it's kind of weird, but I was too fast on the play. Right, you didn't think that was such a thing. There's timing and rhythm to everything, and so I was too fast to the flat, and so I basically ran out of room on the sideline. Right, and that's something I gotta be conscious of. Hey, give myself at least 5 yards of room so I can work and make a move 1-on-1 and get in the damn end zone. And I'm catching the ball like 2 yards from the sideline. I got no chance because I'm running. I got to stop on a dime. And so just 2 things that I could have done better to actually get myself in the end zone. So trust me, I'm aware. That I'm not in the end zone and I'm not being as efficient as I was last year, and I'm working on it. I'm absolutely putting everything I can into being that type of guy that I was last year as well, and building on that.
Yeah, there's certain things that obviously are within your control that we know based on your pedigree, based on how hard you work at this thing. Like, those things will come, those things will get better. The efficiency, I think, will boost up. I have still been curious about this whole idea of these teams like you guys who don't really play, much at all in the preseason. Like, should we expect more of these, like, kind of almost like feeling out periods, right? Where it's like, we're seeing what Sony Michel looks like in the goal, around the goal line. No, do you think there's anything to that? Or is it just like, once you're out there, you're out there?
That sounds like an excuse to me.
Okay.
It sounds like an excuse of why we're not playing. Oh, it's because we didn't play in that's BS. Hell no. We practiced for like 2 months. You're telling me you're not ready after 2 months of straight practice? The only part that I didn't simulate was getting hit to the ground. Like, everything else you can simulate: the breaking tackles, the running through, the setting up.
Well, so cuts, I'm not talking. I'm not talking as much about like your individual performance. I'm thinking more like how you said, like, maybe down throughout the season, like your usage around the goal line might change, like your usage in the red zone might change, like that type of stuff.
Well, that comes down to our personnel. And then also just what we're matching up against in a defense. Who are our matchups that we like? How are they going to play us? Who are they doubling? Are they not doubling? Are they playing man? Are they dropping 8? Right? And so these schemes versus different teams evolve, right? And it's like, okay, who's hot right now? Like, okay, last year I was scoring a bunch of touchdowns. Hey, let's draw it up for Austin. He's getting in, right? And so it's right now, we're still trying to find, okay, who's scoring touchdowns for us right now? It's still all over the place. So it's not, we don't have a guy yet that's like, okay, this guy's hot. Let's get him the ball down the red zone. We would assume that would have been me and Keenan, but neither of us have scored a touchdown this year. So it's like, okay, we got to reset our formula, find who's going to get in the end zone. Lombardi's going to draw it up, give people opportunities to make plays, and then now it's up to us to capitalize. So I don't know. You can't simulate everything in the preseason too. So
it's true.
It's tough to say. I don't want to put it on that. I'm gonna say no. It's on us. We got to get it.
It's a week by week league, and I think things will figure out as we go. Like, if you come out here, in the next game against the Jags to score 2 damn touchdowns, like on another 18, 20, touches, nobody would be surprised. All right, Austin. We talked about your performance, obviously, but I do got to ask you about Justin, man, because I'm watching that game and he just looks hurt. And we know, obviously, he's got a fracture in the rib cartilage. But, dude, I could not believe that I couldn't believe that he kept playing. He is one tough dude, man. I mean, I'll say that. How was he in the huddle, like, after that hit? Did you think he'd even finish that game? Like, how did you feel in the moment?
Well, first off, I didn't know what the heck was happening. I'm like, what the heck happened? And then, obviously, his rib injury, late in the game. So for the most part of the game, he's just his normal self. And then late in the game, obviously gets the injury. But then he definitely was different. He was in excruciating pain. The fact that he finished the game, I think he earned so many fans, man. Like, just because they're like, people gravitate towards toughness, right? Like, that's what the game's about. Like, people showing, like, just toughness, grit, want to, will. Even though we didn't get the win, this man still went out there and was still putting it on the line for the rest of his brothers and his team, all right? And then people just gravitate towards that. And this just speaks volumes about, who he is as a player and what he really loves in life, and that football is such a big part of his life. Even when he's hurt, even when he's down, he's still coming back. And so as a quarterback, as anyone on my team, that's what I'm expecting. That's what we're expecting in general. When we were talking, maybe, I don't know if this is after or before the Aaron Jones. This is before. Anyways, sorry, you have to cut that out. But when we're talking about the NFL, like, it's the highest expectation of performance, right? And for us, it's if you can go, you're going. If not, okay, then that's a different story. And we saw that display of toughness from him. And man, that's like I said before in previous interviews, I'm like, this guy just makes me more and more excited to continue to play with him. Like, and that's he literally is one of the reasons why I'm like, man, I want to play for as long as I can play next to this guy, just of what he can do, and that just keeps adding on to it.
Yeah, man. It was a 3rd and 1 pass where he just like was scrambling out of the pocket and just threw that thing in the dirt. Like, just forget it. I'm like, he looked so. I was like, you gotta get dude, get him out of there, man. I don't like because I mean, obviously, I respect the hell out of like the toughness and everything that you just talked about, but I also don't. You just want the guy to be okay, right? I mean, I've met Justin. He's a great guy and like he loves football. Obviously, I'm like, dude, just protect the prince, protect Justin. Look, but then he comes out in the next play and rifles that thing down on 4th and 1. That huge pass, like, okay, wow, this is something special.
Look, there's something that you cannot simulate, and that is the feeling that you're in when you're in a game. Like when you're in a game, you have so much adrenaline built up. You feel like this is like truly a battle of just human bodies going at it. And you get into this zone that you're like, I don't care what happens, I'm going. Like you like flip a switch in your mind from just going through so much adrenaline, so much just, focus in such a stressful environment that you just go into the zone where it feels like during the game, I'm unstoppable, and then after the game, I'm like, oh, my body. You come off of that high that you were riding. And so when you're in the game, man, like there was no doubt in my mind if he's any chance of playing, he's going to keep going because I know how it is. That's exactly what I would do too. If there's any chance of play, because you're in it, right? And you don't feel it as much when you're in it. Obviously he was. And so, yeah, you definitely have to be smart about it. If there's like, actual damage that could like puncture a lung or something like that, like, okay, like let's chill out, let's be smart about it. That's why we have our doctors on the sideline. They have to do their job too to make sure, hey, he can't injure himself more with what he's dealing with. And so they gave him the green light and he was back in. I think Chase came in for one play, handed it off, and Justin was back in the next play. But yeah, this man literally didn't want to do a 1-yard run because of the thought in his mind that if I get hit on this 1-yard line, it's going to be excruciating. So he throws it in the dirt. And so wow, what a moment. And then giving us a chance at the end of the game on top of all of that, right? Taking us down the field, getting us a score, and then giving us a chance to get an onside kick, which we've seen is actually, hey, can happen. That can happen.
Yeah. This is funny too, because to bring it back to like your usage, there are people out there are even other analysts like, oh, Austin caught 9 passes, but like a lot of that was in garbage time in the 4th quarter. I'm like, garbage time? Did you watch the game? Like their quarterback is literally out there with like a busted freaking rib cartilage. Like these guys are grinding it out. That's not garbage time. Like they're trying to win that damn game. Like they had a chance.
If you watch, I think it was like my 2019 where I had like 1,000 receiving yards. I bet probably 40% of my receiving yards are within the last 2 minutes of the first half and the second half. Like 2 minute is when the running back comes alive as far as the pass game, because people are usually dropping deep. So who's open? The running back. Go get me some yards, And so garbage yards. I mean, if you're talking fantasy, those are not garbage yards. You throw it to Austin.
Those count.
He'll take it. If you're talking about the game, maybe you say they're garbage yards, but we're down. They're not garbage yards. We need these yards. If we were up, maybe they're garbage yards. I don't even know what that even means. Garbage yards. How is that even a saying? Yards are yards. You need to get down the field. So
yeah, it's like a thing when it's something I guess that you'd say when if you're losing like the Titans last night that we talked about, like they're losing 41-7, like that's garbage time in the 4th quarter, quote unquote. Although it's still real dudes out there trying to live it. Like there really is no such thing.
As an analyst, maybe you say that, but you think us out there in the field, we're like, oh, this game doesn't matter anymore. I don't need this yardage. Like, if you think that, you will get hurt. Like, people are still coming to hit you. Big people moving really fast. If you're like, just super casual about it, you're going to get destroyed, and then you're going to be out for weeks. So, absolutely not. When it comes to our mindset, there ain't no such thing. We're trying to still maximize what we have. So, I disagree with all you analysts that say garbage yards, even if you're down 40, 50 points. I don't care. They still count.
Hey, you can go back and look through any of the old Matt Harmon articles. There are no garbage time refs in there,
don't put that on us.
So, yeah. No. I totally disagree with that,
we're still fighting for a job. So we're just saying, you as an analysis, if you're covering that game, then we don't even care about your opinion anymore. That's garbage, opinions because the game's over. No, it still matters.
Yeah,
So
right. And look
anyway.
what can happen too. Like, look at we talked about the Dolphins and Ravens game. Like, hey, you could argue like, oh man, the Ravens have got this one locked up, and then in a blink of an eye, they lose that game because they're not that the guys back there are not trying or it's garbage time or anything like that, but like Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill running past you, man, and then all of a sudden things look quite different. So yeah, there's no such thing as garbage time. Those catches, those yards still matter 100%. So I'm glad we agree on that. I'm glad we can put that narrative to bed. I don't want to hear any more garbage time nonsense out there. Those are still
terrible.
Those are still dudes out there trying to make a living, right? Trying to fight every day, like you said, for a spot and try to prove themselves.
That's another opportunity.
All right, man. We got to transition here. We got to take a quick break, but when we come back, we will bring in Packers running back Aaron Jones. Joining us now, coming off, a huge week, is Packers running back Aaron Jones. Aaron, thanks so much for joining Ekeler's Edge here. You're coming off 18 touches, 170 total yards, 2 touchdowns, personally saving many of my fantasy teams, and not to mention, like, you're on my mom. This is my first year. My mom's playing fantasy. I told her, like, second round, you got to draft Aaron Jones, Mom. Like, let's go. She's hitting me up after week 1, like, hey, what's the deal with the Aaron Jones thing? And so she's feeling good. She's feeling good today. So everybody's feeling good that has Aaron Jones on their fantasy teams. How are you feeling coming off a big performance like that?
First off, thank y'all for having me on here. I'm feeling good. I came in yesterday, was a little sore, flushed it out, got to moving around, and back to feeling good. So ready to have another week like that.
No doubt. I was telling the guys, they're asking me, hey, like, how would you feel after a game like that? I'm like, you know what? Those sore spots after you pop off, they're not as sore as they are when you have a rough game.
Definitely not as sore.
Like, hey, we're human. We feel the emotion when we have a good game. We know for sure, and it feels good, right? Because we put in all this work, and to put the team win together like that always feels great. So yeah, like I said, man, congrats. But then appreciate you joining Ekeler's Edge, man. We're curious. Do you dabble in any fantasy football yourself?
So I have. I'm not playing this year. I had one rule always when I played. I'm not playing in your league unless I can draft myself. So, but no, I was a pretty bad fantasy football manager because I draft my team, and then probably after week 4, week 5, I wouldn't make any subs, any changes. So I'd have guys on the in my lineup who weren't even playing or things like that. But I never finished last, so I talk trash to the people whose leagues I was in. Like, bro, I beat you and I'm not even playing.
And a lot of these leagues out here, if you get last, there's actually a punishment. So a lot of people are just playing not to get last. But yeah, it's a full commitment in the fantasy football world. And I'm just curious. I'm always curious about guys that if they play or they even give any acknowledgement to it, because I don't know about y'all. You guys have a huge fan base over with the Chargers. We're still working on ours. So I have a lot more fans in the fantasy football space than I do from the Chargers fan base. And so for me, I've seen it just as an opportunity to get out there and, capture some more fans and get some more engagement.
So, that's brilliant. This is definitely a whole new lane for that. Like you said, you have your people who support your team, but then you have your people who just support you because you're on their fantasy team.
Exactly.
So it's special.
Exactly.
Yeah, we love to see it. We love to make more connections. Like I said, Aaron, and you're on my mom and my sister's fantasy team, and there's in no way they would know who like a Packers running back is without fantasy football. So yeah, there's a whole new level of connection there.
I do pay attention to what people say about the fantasy football, and last week I got some heat. I played well, just didn't touch the ball a lot, and guys like, come on, you got to do better, blah blah blah. I'm like, did you guys watch the game?
Right. This is where the misconception of fantasy football comes in, because there's like 10%, maybe 20% of the fantasy football community that's so toxic, and they're getting in our DMs, like they're hitting me up. You don't even want to go in my DMs right now. You'll see, why aren't you getting red zone carries? You haven't scored a touchdown, like all this stuff. I'm like, y'all don't think we're trying? We are trying our hardest to score as many points as we can.
Sometimes when you get down there in the 10, that's what you think about. You think about the people you got to, like, damn, my fantasy manager is going to appreciate me if I get in right here.
Like, it's a subconscious thought, right? We're trying our best, which then also helps them. So these people got to chill out. Like, hey, we're trying. There's things that we can't always control. right? This game's hard. People get paid on the defensive side of the ball too. You know, if
That's
it was
that's
easy
what
for
people
us,
that's what
easy.
people forget, that the defense gets paid too. They're there for a reason.
Right, exactly. So so I understand why, you know, guys don't really like it because it doesn't really affect us that much, and it gets a bad rap from the talk. So we're on a mission with Ekeler's Edge this year to try to educate these knuckleheads out here in the fan base that, hey, we're trying. Like, get out of my DMs. Like, give me some encouragement. You should be like, hey man, I need you to play better. Like you got this next week. Like, don't be dragging me down. You know, so
100%.
That's a great call. Bring the positivity and like encouragement. Like, hey man, wasn't the best in week 1, but you know what, week 2 you can get back out there. Like there's all that. That's the way that fantasy players should be talking to you guys. And it's funny too. You bring up, Aaron, that like you still had a great game in week 1. Like you were still explosive when you got the ball. Like you looked great. You did your job within the offense, even if you guys obviously didn't win the game, but it did seem like there was a conscious effort from the head coach, Matt LaFleur, to say like, all right, that's on me. Like I got to get Aaron more opportunities out there. What went into sort of kind of redesigning your role or getting you more opportunities in week 2? Because obviously with those opportunities comes more opportunities to put up fantasy points.
Definitely. I would say a part of it was we only had 2 backs active that game, so it's kind of afraid to just unleash the backs. So this past week we had another back up on the active roster, and he just let us go. I would say we've always had those plays in the playbook, but he didn't have to call it the way he did the week 1 because he felt more comfortable having another backup. But he definitely told me, he came out and told me, we're going to get you the ball more. And I was like, all right, let's get it.
Hey, well, here, I'll tell you something. I want to see you hold on to this average. This 9 yards a carry. Do something legendary, bro. Let's go.
I had that conversation with Alan Lazard in the locker room. I walked past him. He's like, bro, you're averaging 9.1. I was like, bro, if I could do that for the season, that'd be legendary.
Please, man. Please. I want to see that. I want to see that done.
Yes, sir.
Get that done for sure.
I mean, it seems like you'll have a lot. Well, you know, that's a lot to ask, Austin. Like, you know, freaking 9 yards of damn carry.
I'm just saying,
like,
do what you've been doing.
You set your goals high.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, I love it. Set the goals high. And it does seem like this year, Aaron, you guys will be built more around both, obviously you, but also AJ Dillon too. I mean, AJ's a good back, man. And by the way, I know AJ's like actually in fantasy leagues with other like fantasy analysts, like talk about knuckleheads, like knuckleheads that I'm friends with in the industry are like in a fantasy league with AJ Dillon. So he's definitely aware of it. But talk to me a little bit about like your dynamic with AJ and how you guys complement each other both on and off the field.
AJ's like my little brother. He's super smart. When he got here, we were just it was me and Jamal Williams here, and then he came with us, and we were just trying to take him under our wings and teach us the ropes, because we knew at one point whether it was me or Jamal, one of us was going to be staying and we were going to be playing with AJ. So let's bring him along as fast as we can. Let's help him out. And he wanted to learn everything as quick as possible. Like I said, he's super smart, and then he's a big back, so you can't coach size. That's one thing you can't coach. And he comes out, he plays hard. He fit right in with our room. Personality wise, he's very outgoing. He's a people person. The fans here love him. He takes time out of his day just to please them. And he's a special guy, and I'm glad to share a backfield with him. He makes me better. I make him better. He's taught me some of the things that help him be successful, and I've shared some of the things with him. We work every day on the little miniature things like the techniques and pass protection to ball security, just staying sharp every day, and we make sure we keep each other sharp.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's what you love to see. And you guys, you got to like the standard that you set and everything like that is huge. I mean, I'm sure you impart a lot of like what Aaron Rodgers expects to AJ Dillon too. Cause I mean, that's a guy, obviously Aaron Rodgers been around the block, been doing this a long time. Like there's a certain level of expectation that he has from everybody else around him as well. And I feel like you guys have to kind of come in with that, and you being able to bring AJ into it is a pretty big thing for everybody.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I agree. Like you said, the level of expectation will always come when you step on the field with 12 and a Green Bay jersey as well. And I think that's one thing AJ did was really well is pick up the offense pretty quickly, getting a chemistry with A-Rod pretty quickly as well. And he adapted fast. So I think that's one thing that helped him and that allowed him to go out there and just play fast.
And I'll just speak on the expectation too in the league, just because I don't think people really realize like how high the expectation is, and not just from other teammates, but from ourselves as players. Like we have to expect and try to perform at the highest level that we possibly can, because that is what it requires. That's the minimum requirement. And if we're not playing at that level, you will get cut. You will get weeded out. You know.
And people forget like. They are trying to replace us every day. Like we can walk in. Our contract is not secure every day. Like you got to walk in and earn it every day.
Look, it is our management, our GMs, our owners' job to replace us with better players. It's our job to say we're the better player and you should keep us, right? That's what we're fighting for every day by going out there and playing. And they're trying to put the best team together, for cheapest. Like who can we get a steal for cheap and put with our big money guys, right? And so that's 100%. The expectation. So across the entire league. So just realize that when you're talking to us, when you hear us, like just remember this is the highest of the high. We have to be performing at this level or we don't last or we get weeded out. So Aaron, we got you on like just legends like himself, man, who we've been doing it for a few years now, man.
Now that's you.
Hey, bro, you're going to year 6, right?
Yeah, year 6.
Yeah, we came in the same year. That's what's up.
Yes, sir.
When you see these guys getting year 6, year 7, year 8, right? They've been doing it at a high level for a long time. So I'm excited to keep watching your career.
And you went undrafted, didn't you?
Yeah, undrafted.
I'm proud of you, bro. You know how
I appreciate that, bro.
I know how that goes. My brother was undrafted, so I know it's even tougher of a role for undrafted guys. So you doing your thing.
No doubt.
You showing you motivating others, showing hey, I don't have to hear my name called on draft day to go out there and make a roster and be a superstar. So
I appreciate
proud of you, bro.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Man, I'm proud of both you guys. I mean, Aaron, you're not like you weren't a first round pick or anything like that either. Austin and I have talked about this. Like every day you gotta come in like you're still that. I'm still a day 3 draft pick. I'm still an undrafted guy. Like, working hard every single day. Like Austin said, setting that expectation. It starts with you guys. So listen, I'm just here to hype both of you guys up. That's my role in this whole thing. is to remind the folks out there how much you guys bust your ass, how hard you guys work at this thing, and that all of us should be appreciative of what you do, because it's awesome to watch. And it's entertaining to just be us on the couch watching you guys and everything like that.
Well, I'll leave it with this too. Like the moment we stop chasing, what got us here, which is that drive to continue to better ourselves, that's when we start to plateau. That's when you start to decline, because you plateau, everyone else is gaining ground, right? So we got to keep going, right? That's the mindset. And then there's things that we can't control, but what we can control is our effort and our motivations and where we're putting our time and trying to get better.
100%, man. You guys are awesome. Aaron, we do want to give you a chance to promote your foundation, A&A all the way, before we get you out of here, man.
Oh, thank you so much. So yes, me and my brother is really our family foundation. A&A all the way is geared back to giving back towards the youth, just being a staple in our community, not just here in Green Bay, but we're also in El Paso and work in other places as well, trying to become kind of worldwide. And we believe the youth is the future. Sometimes they're born into unfortunate events. They're not asked to, they're born into places, to unfortunate events where they're not asked to be, where they have no control, where we're talking about control the controllables. So just even off the playing field, being a resource in my community any way possible. We've done bike drives. We do yards for shoes. This is going to be my 3rd year doing yards for shoes. So however many rushing yards I rush for this year, kids in Wisconsin and El Paso will get shoes, and that's how many will be passed out. We do turkey giveaways for Thanksgiving. We've done backpack drives, just different things like that. I was raised on giving back. When you're blessed, you bless others. So that's one of my passions, just giving back and seeing the effect you can have on people when you bless them, and it can go a little or it can go a long way. And just seeing the even in that spectrum, when you affect somebody in a little way, it still goes a long way for me. And when you affect somebody in a long way, it affects, it still has the same effect on me. So just being that positive light for people and trying to be a positive role model for the youth. And
that's what's up. Hey, look, I'll say this, man. I think that's so special because you're saying like a little something that helps someone a little bit, but when you're talking about the youth, something that helps them a little bit, that gives them some type of freedom, some type of fun, some type of change in their mentality, it pays compound interest over the time of their life. So that little impact that you're making in their lives is gonna set themselves up for something better in the future going forward, right? It's small things, but it's such a big impact. So, man, this guy.
I appreciate that. See, that's what I forget sometimes, the small things.
Right.
You got to remember that, because in football, the small things matter.
That's what it is. It comes down to the fundamentals. The plays 100%. Are made within the fundamentals, your techniques, your assignment, and then everything after that is a bonus, right? But you got to be those things first. So that's what's up, man. Hey, if you ever want to do a collab, let me hit me up. We can do a collab with the foundation. Where can people find the foundation to get more information?
ANAalltheway.org. And I'm definitely down. We can let's do something. Let's cook something up.
Absolutely. I'm gonna hit you up. I'll make a donation myself because I believe in giving back to the youth. Yeah, absolutely, brother. Appreciate you having you on. Is that so? ANA.org is where you said?
ANA all the way. So
ANA all the way.
So AA all the way.
Okay. Got it.
Awesome. We love to see it. Look at this. Austin Ekeler, Aaron Jones crushing it on the field, crushing it off the field. Two good guys. You people out there, the listeners, the viewers, show them some love, give them some encouragement. That's what it's all about, man. Spreading positivity here. That's what Ekeler's Edge is all about. Aaron, thanks so much for joining us, man. This is awesome. Good luck the rest of the season. Keep crushing it, again, both on and off the field, man.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me. Austin, underdogs always win.
Let's go, man. Hey, good luck this season. Stay healthy, brother.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Good to see you.
You as well, man. Take it easy.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, we're back, dude. Aaron Jones, awesome. What a great interview. What a great dude. I'm excited to see what collab you guys have going on with the couple foundations there.
Absolutely. I'm trying to actually collab with a lot of different people's foundations. So I'm glad he came on talking about that because we're doing the same thing with Austin Ekeler Foundation. We're trying to put resources back in. So we have a very similar vision, which I think a lot of people that have started foundations are doing, right? It's all about putting resources, just what type of resources you're putting back into it, whether it's, money, tangibles, things like that. And so there's definitely a collab that we'll be able to get linked up on.
All right, 100%. Okay, we're going to do one Ask Austin question because we obviously addressed the bulk of them, which was what about the goal line usage whole thing? We talked about that already. We did say, Austin, last time that we would address some fantasy questions. We'll tag team one here. So we did get a pretty interesting one that involves you, actually. This one comes in from Daniel. So I traded you in a 12-team Superflex half PPR Dynasty League. Are you familiar with what Dynasty Leagues are, Austin?
That's where you hold over players from year to year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So when this team looks and sounds stacked, it is stacked because they've been building it for a few years. The running backs are Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, you, Leonard Fournette, Melvin Gordon, Rashad Penny. The wide receivers are Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin, Elijah Moore, Hunter Renfrow. This guy traded you and Rondale Moore and got back Tyreek Hill and Alexander Madison. He also has Tua and Patrick Mahomes as his quarterbacks. Well, you bad trade. You think, yeah, he asks, the question is, good deal, bad deal, dude, WTF you trade me for? That's Daniel's question.
Oh, so wait, what? Go over the trade. There was a lot of names getting thrown out there. What was the specific trade?
A lot of names. The specific trade gave a lot of context with the roster, everything like that. He sent you and Rondale Moore and got back Tyreek Hill and Alexander Madison, the backup running back for the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, Tyreek Hill, potentially, one of the best just receivers in the entire NFL, just because of his speed and his ball skills and his routes and what he changes the entire defense's strategy because he is one man that is so effective. So I would say that's a good trade. Good trade, straight up. If I could trade myself for Tyreek, I still wouldn't do it because I can only bet on myself. But if you were you, I would do it. I would do it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's still got JT, still got DeAndre Swift, and Keenan Allen hurt. And,
Swift,
he needed the wide receiver.
Swift popped off, didn't he? He had a good game. Yeah, so
he looks good.
Let's go, man. So Swift's coming back. Had an injury right last year.
Yeah, he had injury last year. Actually had an injury leading into this game, but still busted off some like
So,
unbelievable touchdown.
yeah,
That guy's looked
that's
great.
a great trade. I like that trade. If
Look
I'm
at
me,
this
I'm not
guy.
making it, but yeah,
Sure.
I got to keep
Sure.
myself. But I'm biased.
Of course.
To the highest level.
Of course.
I'm ride or
100%.
die with myself. But for you, yeah, I would do that.
I mean, if I'm not an NFL player, if I was an NFL player, I'd be, like Aaron said in the interview, his one rule of fantasy football is he has to be able to draft himself. So
Absolutely.
that's a good thing. That's a good thing to dictate.
I don't make that rule, but I try to get myself if I can every time.
All right. Remember, people, ask Austin. Oh, I said that wrong. Remember, people, ask Austin at yahoosports.com. That's the email. Send us questions about anything. We'll do fantasy questions like this sometimes. We'll ask some like on-field type of questions. We'll hit anything at the Ask Austin email address. So make sure you get those in. All right, Austin, we got to get you out of here soon, but we do have to do our as the AFC West turns segment here. We'll talk Chargers for sure, but we haven't gotten a chance to talk about the Broncos yet, man. Just because, look, we've obviously there was just the schedule of the show.
Mm-hmm.
We recorded last Monday night before this game kicked off. I want to get your reaction to how things are going in Denver right now. They're off to a 1-1 start. The new head coach, not off to such a great start. I know this because I was doing my Googling last night. The first two Google results that pop up when you type in Nathaniel Hackett and like tries to autofill for you. The first one is Nathaniel Hackett post game. The second one is Nathaniel Hackett memes. You don't want memes to be the second thing that pops up when you Google yourself.
Oh no.
I don't know how much you've seen of this, but like there's been a ton of delay of game issues. The fans were literally counting down the play clock.
I did. I saw that. I saw that. Oh no. Oh no. The fans are making the memes themselves.
Right.
Shout out to the fans though. You guys are funny and hilarious and toxic and everything all at once. All at once. We ride or die with y'all though. So y'all make the league go. So appreciate y'all. But man, how is it go? It's too early to tell, really, because I remember last year, the Green Bay Packers had probably the worst game in their history of the Aaron Rodgers era. Last year, for their first game, it was absolutely terrible. I think they had like 3 points and like a bunch of turnovers and stuff like that. And then they turn around and make a run in the playoffs, right? So it's like, I think it's too early. You know, there's definitely have a lot of new parts, new quarterback, new head coach. There's a lot of new moving parts. So I don't want to make any assumptions yet in week 2 because I think it's way too early. We get like 6, 7, 8 games in. I think you can start to really see the identity of a team. But yeah, right now, look, they got to win. They got to win versus, the Texans. So they're 1-1. So are we, So it's definitely nothing. Like I said, it's the NFL. Like teams go up and down crazy amounts through the week depending on, how they play and if they show up and how consistent they can be. So right now, I would say I'm not going to make any assumptions yet or say anything about the Broncos because it's only week 2. It's only week 2. Yeah. Rough start is a rough start. We've seen a lot of rough starts throughout the years. Are they having one? I would say maybe. They're 1-1 though. We're 1-1. Yeah. Are we having a rough start? Maybe. We'll see though. Like time will tell. And I think it's too early. Like as of now, what we've seen in the first couple games, yeah, they could play better, but you can say that about every single team. And so, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that because I don't want to make any statement that's going to be stuck out there unless I actually have seen stuff for a little bit more time.
Like you said, it's the newness of it all too, right? Like these guys can get it together. I mean, this is Nathaniel Hackett's first time running a team. Like, so yeah, he's made some mistakes, but I am willing to say he probably not making those same mistakes in week 15, 16, 17, whatever.
Well, if he is, he'll get fired. That's how it works. If you're making the same mistakes and you're not getting better, you get fired. Like, it's plain and simple. Same thing with us as players, right? If we're making the same mistakes over, same thing with you, Matt. If you make the same mistakes and people are coming, same thing with you listening. If you continue to make the same mistakes over and over again, you will get fired from your job. So, yeah, he's going to adapt. They're going to get better, just like all teams do during the season. And if they don't, that's when you see the changes being made. Russell Wilson, he's been able to play at a high level. He's shown that. Is he having a rough start? Yeah, sure he is. But, I mean, he can get back on a rhythm. Like, he's in a new place. New offense, new all of that. New receivers, new entire organization. So, too early. Too early to tell.
Yeah, too early. Like you said, things can come together, and if not, like the standard is the standard. Everybody is replaceable. So that is how this works. That's how the league works. Let's talk you guys. You got a big game coming up at home against Jacksonville. Jacksonville currently leading the AFC South after beating the Colts. Dude, the Jags always beat the Colts. It's so weird. They're like six wins, 30 losses over their last 36 games. Like four of the wins are against the Colts. It's really funny when you actually look through the history of it. But you've had the extra time to rest and prepare. How are you feeling coming into this game? The Jags defense looks a little more feisty than it did perhaps last year when under the whole Urban Meyer disaster. Talk about that was a disaster. That was a one and done type.
Yeah, that was definitely a disaster. Absolutely. You can't hide around that. That was what it is. You know, there's no sugarcoating that one. But yeah, our matchup coming in back in SoFi Stadium. So I'm excited to be back at home in our beautiful stadium. And yeah, we have a matchup. You know, this is I got asked the question one time. There was like 6 different teams that they listed out, and they were talking about teams that, you know, might be able to go over 500. And I said the Jags might be one of those teams.
Ooh.
And so they're definitely on the come up. I think Jonathan Taylor, who's their quarterback's name? What's his name?
The quarterback, Trevor
Lawrence. Jonathan Taylor. No resemblance.
Same division.
There we go. Oh, because you said the Colts. But Trevor Lawrence, I think he's got some potential. I think he can hold up the team. You know, I think he's going to be able to help him make a run over there. And you obviously need a good quarterback in this league to make a run. And so I don't know if he's going to make it this year, but I think he's got the potential to get some good guys around him. And then they got a stud running back, which I always love stud running backs on offenses. And so, yeah, it's going to be a matchup. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good fight, like every single week is. And we'll see how it goes. But I'm looking forward to preparing because of this 5-day break. My body's feeling good, too good. You know, I say too good because I'm ready to go. I feel like I could play today if I had to, which is probably a good feeling. But it's only week 3, so I should feel like this.
That is a good feeling, I'm sure. And you mentioned that stud running back, James Robinson, man. What this guy's doing right now, talk about something that everybody got wrong. Everybody's like, oh, James Robinson coming back from an Achilles injury, because the history of like running backs and Achilles injuries, it's not great. Like a lot of guys have had that injury, and then it kind of ruins the rest of their career. James Robinson, fresh off that thing late last season, and he's like he just looks awesome right now. He is going to go down as one of the best values in fantasy because, again, so many people doubted him, and he's another undrafted guy too.
Shout out to the undrafted boys, man. Hey, getting it done. We got everything to prove every day. So the mindset is a little different when you're not, you know, taking the elevator. You got to take the stairs. You know, so we love it a little bit more. But yeah, man, I'm excited to go battle head to head against him in the fantasy showdown of the 2 undrafted running backs. Got to get myself in the dang end zone. So I'll be looking to do that and put up some good points for all y'all teams, including myself.
Hey, Austin, we appreciate you. It's coming. It's coming for you. It's been there for James Robinson. We love to see. I mean, great show about like some underdog running backs here, man. This is awesome. All right, we're gonna let you go, Austin. It's the end of the show, but I did want to ask you one last thing. You got to talk to me about this Hot Wheels fit that was blowing up, and I appreciate it, not just because, I mean, hey, dude, Hot Wheels, cool as hell, man, but also proper length shorts, bro. Skies out, thighs out, man. We love to see it.
You saw it. I was rocking, had the legs out for sure. So shout out to Adidas actually for hooking me up with the fit. You know, they gave me it's obviously my on-field sponsor. That's why I'm wearing their stuff. And every once in a while they'll send me a cool fit to try out, and wow, they did not disappoint with this one. My mom though was a little, she's like, Hot Wheels, like, isn't that a little juvenile? I was like, Mom, this fit.
Oh, come on.
The fit is fire though, so I rocked it anyway. And yeah, that thing, shout out to Adidas, helped me go viral for probably my coolest game day fit that I've had to this day. So looking for more of those. We'll see if I can match that at all this season. Because I have no style, by the way. Like, my girlfriend picks out my game day outfits, and my mother, you know, buys my game day clothes. And so my style selection, let's just say I'm lacking in that. Like, I'm just showing up to work. I'm trying to just work. I don't really care how I look. I care how I play and how I perform. You know, so they help me out there, right? That's why it's a team of teams, right? Team of teams.
Yeah, well, as an advocate of like I said, skies out, thighs out. Let the shorts, man. They're back.
Oh yeah,
they're here. Work on your legs out there, folks, and let the calves out, let the thighs out. Let's go, man.
Exactly.
I was hyped to see it. So you crushed it. way to go. We'll continue to look for more great game day fits for you, man. This is
awesome.
You love to see it. All right, that is going to do it for us. Thanks so much to Aaron Jones for joining on this episode of Ekeler's Edge. What an awesome interview. What an awesome player. What an awesome guy. Of course, you could follow our own awesome guy, Austin Ekeler, on Twitter or Instagram at Austin Ekeler. Make sure to keep an eye out for his giveaways. And of course, you can follow me at Matt Harmon _BYB. And while you're there, make sure you're following at Yahoo Fantasy. I will be back tomorrow with Dalton Del Don for some awesome Stat Nerd Thursday. Until then, we're out.